Well, hello once again from Fresh at Burcott. Now, I know many of you have been enjoying growing vegetables over the summer, and a lot of you will have been lifting your new potatoes and having some delicious meals of those lovely new potatoes. But did you know that you could also be enjoying those new potatoes at Christmas as well, by planting a few now? And they really are just as delicious as those lovely ones you're getting now, but it's just such a treat to have them in the middle of winter. So at the moment we do have specialist seed tubers available. Now, it is important that you buy these because they have been kept in a cold temperature through the spring and summer, ready for planting now. You can't just replant ones that you're lifting, because potatoes actually have a long period of dormancy before they're ready to regrow. So these are potatoes that were harvested last summer and they've been kept in cold store right up until now. So you could do that yourself by buying the seed potatoes that are available just after Christmas and keeping them in the fridge. But personally, I think it's just much easier and simpler to buy these ones that have already been treated for you. You know that they're certified seed and they're going to give you a good crop. There are just usually 2 or 3 varieties that are worth growing, and we've chosen the Duke of York here, the Charlotte and the Maris Pear. Those 3 varieties are very good for growing for Christmas harvest. So what I thought we might do is actually plant a few up in a potato bag so that we could follow their progress over the next few weeks, and then we'll lift them at the end of November and you can see just how lovely they are. With potatoes that you're planting now, you can see this is a lovely, very good little seed potato here, and you can see that the shoots are already starting to come. You don't need to chip them like you do the potatoes that you have in earlier in the year, because the soil is warm and they're ready to grow straight away. So you don't need to bother with that. You can just buy them and plant them straight away. So we'll just get a potato bag ready and then we'll plant some and we'll see how we get on. So because potatoes are not frost hardy, I think it's much easier to grow them in a big bag or a big pot, because that way you can give them a little bit of frost protection, because as we get into October and November, obviously the weather's going to be turning much colder and we could get some quite sharp frosts and they will need some protection. So if you're growing them in a container, you can keep them in a cold greenhouse or a conservatory, or at least it's very much easier to fleece them over and keep them that bit protected. So these sort of potato bags are readily available. It is important to make sure you've got something that's got drainage holes here, because you don't want any waterlogging to happen, because that really will cause the potatoes to rot off. So a bag like this you can plant 3 potatoes in, and that should give you a good crop for 2 or 3 decent meals. So I'm going to put some compost in the bottom. Now, we like the Vitax Q4 compost here. We use this for all sorts of things, and it's particularly good for something like growing potatoes in a container, because it's a lovely crumbly compost. You can see how lovely and fine that is. It's not going to get too waterlogged, and the potatoes are going to be able to root into that very easily. So I'm going to put some, make sure you don't get too many lumps in there. So I'm going to start putting some into the bag. You'll probably need a whole sack full of compost to do this, but you don't want to be filling your bag all the way up to start with. So I've filled that about a quarter full, I should say, and that's sufficient to be getting you going. And I'm going to choose 3 potatoes. I'm going for Duke of York, so that's one of my favourite varieties. So I'm going to choose 3 nice seed potatoes there, ready sprouting, and I'm just going to pop them in, space them evenly in the bag like that, and I'm going to get a little bit more compost. And I'm going to cover them up with about 3 or 4 inches, so that's about 10 centimetres of compost. So now my bag is just under half full, I would say, and that's all the compost I'm going to put in for the moment. I'm going to water this well, and then once the shoots start to emerge out of the soil, I'll put more compost on top. If you do it like that, keep letting them shoot through, adding more compost, they'll produce lots more roots with lots more potatoes on, so you'll get a much better crop. I could fill the the bag right up now, but I won't get nearly as good a crop. So just let them shoot through the soil, then keep covering them up with more soil, and that way you'll get a really good crop. Now when we get to about the end of October, the foliage will be starting to die off, and you just let that die off naturally, and then you can leave the potatoes in that bag in a frost-proof place, ready to harvest when you're ready for them at Christmas. But as I say, we'll come back to this in a few weeks' time, have a look and see how our potatoes are getting on, and I hope you're all going to have a go with that too and have some fun with that. So thanks very much, see you again soon.